Fortune has a wonderful evening in store for you. And I want to start off with a song that speaks to the Fortune Society's mission and what Fortune provides all their clients. Someone standing by their side, helping them get through whatever obstacles come their way.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, if the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me, stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me.
Thos, thank you for your beautiful music and for the way in which you've shared your music with us over the years. I want to thank everybody for being part of our event tonight as we honor the wonderful people who are the heroes at our organization, the frontline workers, the people who've been there through COVID. Our world has turned upside down since March. And what COVID has done is shown us in sharp relief the racial injustices, the system injustices that we knew well before. This has been a time of reckoning, both in terms of how we've adapted to COVID and about the protests in the streets, about racial injustice. I'm hopeful. This is a chance to celebrate what people who are changing the world through their hands-on work are doing. So we're here to celebrate some Fortune heroes. In the midst of COVID, we served over 4,000 people. We did our work through housing, through employment services, through helping people get food, through helping people get the medical care that they needed, through helping people coming home from incarceration to land safely. Some of it remote, some of it in person. We're honoring 3 of our frontline workers who have made all the difference in people's lives. And we want to thank our maintenance folk and our front desk people who have been here through all of this and have held us solid so that we could be there for the people who need our help. Fortune's mission is more important than ever. It's a 2-pronged mission. The service part is about being there for people as they rebuild their lives after experience in the criminal justice system. Our services are diverse, they're heartfelt, they're done with love. And as we give our services, We see the barriers that people face as they work to build new lives in the community, and we do fierce advocacy about job discrimination, housing discrimination, conditions of confinement, and all of the albatrosses that are hung around the necks of people as they finish their time and try to build new lives. Thank you for being there with us, and thank you for honoring our heroes. It is my true pleasure to be able to introduce you to Barry Campbell. I have known Barry for close to 25 years. So Barry, I guess the way to start is just to ask you a bit about how you came to Fortune.
Fortune was kind of forced down my throat initially. I just got out of prison for doing a robbery charge. And because of my drug history, I was mandated to go to Fortune for drug treatment. And I didn't like it one bit. Got a call from my parole officer asking for an update, and my update was absolutely atrocious. And so they said, you know, if you're not in a group by 1 p.m. today, you're going back to prison. And that was the beginning of me truly investing in Fortune. It's been an experience for me. I tell people all the time, this is where I grew up. This is where I learned what being a man is and what being a productive citizen means.
Well, you know, I've known you since you came to Fortune. I've watched you grow up. I've had the pleasure of getting to really know you through some easy times and through some really tough times. We asked you to step in on a very important project for us. In the middle of the pandemic, we knew that there were physically, medically vulnerable people in prison, in jail, in detention, who would not be released unless they had an address, but they were homeless. We rented a building and we asked you to run it. So talk to us about what it's like for you starting up a new building in a pandemic with people with behavioral health issues and huge life challenges.
There's a saying that you frequently said to me and to others, sometimes you have to leap off the cliff and build your wings on the way down. One of the reasons why I'm so in love with Fortune is because it's never about the contract or the milestones first. It's always about the individual. And it's very important because this is a dire need right now. These individuals were literally suffering in incarceration because they just didn't have an address to go to. And for them to walk into a place where it's about them and only them and what they need and only what they need. We don't write people off. We invest in people. The same way some individuals and some corporations invest in prisons. We invest in people. And investing in people has been the greatest high point of my life.
You know, there's something Stan and I say when we welcome new staff into the organization. We say, if it was your loved one, your mother, your brother, your child in trouble and needing help, how would you want them greeted and treated? And then there's a response you always make.
I can remember when I first walked through the door, and I can remember what I wanted. I can remember how I wanted to be treated. I can remember how I wanted to be spoken to. And that's the way I treat everybody that comes through there, as if it was me. Not just a family member, but I remember me. And it was very important to me that the conversations that I had with social service workers was not somebody looking down on me, giving me a roadmap that they had never traveled themselves. When I got to Freedom House, one of the gentlemen came down to my office and he said, "You're somebody that I want to listen to," because he said I'd been through so much. And I told him that my sole purpose for being here was so that I can try to help people the way that I was helped when I finally walked through the doors of Fortune for real. And I'm not talking about the first time I was mandated by parole. I was raised by the system, foster care, boys home, jail, prison. But I've got a bunch of mothers and I've got a bunch of fathers who love me. I'm talking about when you, David, Stan, and John Jeremy, and Melanie Johnston, and all the other people embrace me as family. I just want other people to feel what I felt when I realized how good I had it.
Well, I love you and I am so proud of you. So I want to take an opportunity to give you the award. In your honor, this is the Fortune Bird.
I don't do much on the award stuff. But I have to say is that this has never been work for me. My job is not a job. It keeps me honest every day, looking at individuals and the situations that they're in, and I can just remember mine as if it was yesterday. And being able to show them that it doesn't matter what status you are, what level you are, there's always hope and love for you with fortune, and that's important for me.
And you model it and you give it. So thank you and congratulations, Barry. We are so proud of you.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker and I have a few things in common. Both men from the Bronx. We dedicated our lives to criminal justice reform. I came to this work through personal experience, having spent time in the prison system, eventually finding my way to the Fortune Society decades ago when they gave me an opportunity. Now, I serve as Executive Vice President. His route was more traditional, highlighted in equal measure of great accomplishments and great service. Columbia Law School, NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and in 1997, appointed by President Clinton as Deputy Attorney General, the first African American to hold that position. Then, in 2009, President Obama nominated him to be the 82nd U.S. Attorney General. As I said, great accomplishments and a lifetime of service. Our paths eventually crossed when at the White House, he presented me with the Champion of Change Award, honoring those who help people impacted by the justice system, something we both deeply cherish. Now it is my honor to, in turn, introduce and recognize him, a great leader and true champion for justice, Eric Holder.
Thank you all for having me. I want to thank Stanley for his very kind introduction, for everything that he's done to make this gala possible, and for his extraordinary leadership on issues of justice. It's a privilege to be a part of the Hope and Justice Gala, and it's a pleasure to join so many devoted community leaders, passionate advocates, and good friends who are dedicated to the work of making our justice system reflect our deepest values, as well as our highest ideals. You know, the Fortune Society is at the forefront of that effort. For more than half a century, you have amplified the voices of those who are impacted by unfair policies and helped thousands of justice-involved people transform their lives. You have led by example to show how we can help formerly incarcerated individuals come home, rebuild their lives, and contribute to our communities. And you've used your own experiences to educate others about the value that these extraordinary men and women bring to our neighborhoods and our workforce when they have the opportunity to succeed. Now, that work is critically important because in too many cases, our justice system has fallen short. It's clear that even today that too many Americans go to too many prisons for far too long for no truly good law enforcement reason. It's clear that communities of color face enormous disparities and discrimination. And it's clear also that people who have served their time are not being given the support they need and that they deserve. We need to take a different approach, your approach, to make our criminal justice system fairer and more humane. Now, that means reducing or eliminating mandatory minimum sentences, ending sentencing disparities that disproportionately impact people of color, investing in drug courts and diversion efforts, and helping people who have been impacted by the justice system reconnect with their communities and recommit to themselves. And it means ensuring that people who have served their time have the right and the opportunity to vote. The truth is that the work you do isn't just about helping people get a job or access education or find a place to live. It's more fundamental than even that. It's about appreciating the worth of every justice-involved individual, recognizing that we are all more than our worst mistake, and reminding people who have been knocked down that they deserve the same respect and opportunities as everybody else. So tonight, my message to all those men and women who have been impacted by the justice system is this: you matter. Your experiences matter. Your rights matter. Your humanity is not negotiable, and your dignity is not up for debate. In a country that is built on the promise of opportunity, on the principle that tomorrow can be better than today, and the idea that we can create a better life and a better future if we have the courage to imagine it, to work for it, and to fight for it, no person should ever feel left out and left behind. And it's up to us, all of us, to make that promise real. That's why the Fortune Society's work, I believe, is so important, why it is vital that we redouble our commitment to this cause. And so I'm not just here to praise you and to celebrate you. I'm here to ask you for something too. I'm asking you to keep standing up and speaking out for the work that is our common bond. Keep bringing together leaders and public servants, advocates and activists from all backgrounds and circumstances at events like this one. Keep fighting for that which is right. And I promise that I'll be alongside you every step of the way. Thank you again for the work that you do. Thank you for all that you have accomplished. And thank you for everything that you will continue to do and achieve in the days, months, and years ahead.
Hello, I'm Ronald Day, Vice President of Programs at the Fortune Society, and I'm here to present the Frontline Hero Award to my dear colleague, Samantha Pugh. We're in this pandemic right now, and it's been really tough for a lot of the clients that we serve. And you supervise one of our programs, ICANN, Individualized Correction Achievement Network, where we're working with people who are being discharged from the jails. How has it been a struggle for many of them during this pandemic?
The facilities are an epicenter of the pandemic. We are no longer able to provide programming and services in the facilities, which include our workshops, as well as our one-on-one services, our family services, and appreciation days have all been suspended. So it's extremely challenging, not to mention the unsanitary conditions that they have to endure, as well as the inability to social distance during the pandemic.
And what are some of the services that we've been able to provide them in the community as they get discharged?
Fortune Society has kept their doors open during the pandemic. And during that time, we continue to provide transportation where we pick up the clients who are being released from the facilities, transport them to Fortune Society and other community organizations in which they need to be transported to. We offer them incentives when they arrive to the community, as well as refer them to specific resources. And we also host our workshops virtually where the clients are able to remain engaged. And we also launched our care package program, and where we were able to provide over 200 care packages with toiletries to clients that were released into the community.
With the challenges, I know that there are still some successes that happen with some of the clients. Can you tell us about your success story?
We had a client who was released from Rikers Island, and our transportation specialist picked him up. And he came to the facility in Long Island City to pick up his incentive, but indicated that he didn't have time, he needed to leave. The case managers continued to conduct outreach several times. He put it off, brushed it off, indicated that he didn't have time. And he said one day, the light bulb came on, where he presented to Long Island City, completed his intake, was referred to employment services, completed the workshop, and is now gainfully employed in a construction site.
Is he still remaining in touch with the case manager?
Absolutely he is, and it's extremely rewarding because he was engaged while on Rikers. So it's a pleasure to see the challenges that we witnessed him enduring on Rikers to transition and remain employed.
People know you to be a very dedicated servant to the people that we work with. I remember interviewing you, and I knew at the time that you were someone who would be an asset to the organization. What is it about you that allows you to have the passion and the devotion to work with the clients the way that you do?
Initially, I thought that I wanted to be in law enforcement, and I gave it a shot for some time. Coming into reentry and sitting at criminal justice from a different angle was the onset of my passion, not to mention my personal experience and family being impacted by the criminal justice system kind of put me to that point. Witnessing those clients on Rikers and coming into the community, that's what it's all about.
How do you feel about receiving the Frontline Hero Award?
It's not about me. It's about those clients that walk through the door and the team that I work with, the ICANN team. I owe it all to them.
Samantha, I want to present you with the Frontline Hero Award from the Fortune Society for your 4 years of dedication to the clients that we work with. I'm honored to have been working with you, and I look forward to many more years.
Thank you, Dr. Day. It's been a pleasure, and I'm very grateful and thankful to be a recipient of this award, and looking forward to many more years as well.
Hello, my name is Stanley Richards. I'm the Executive Vice President of Fortune Society. It gives me great honor and privilege to lift up and celebrate one of my colleagues, Judy De La Cruz. Judy has been with Fortune for many years, and she has been providing vital services to the men and women who walk through our doors seeking an opportunity to build new lives. So let's get on with the conversation. Why don't you tell us what and how Fortune transitioned during COVID-19.
All of us were trying to figure out how we were going to take our services, which are 100% in person, and how we were going to make that function in a technology-based format. And we had to learn how to use the technology. So you're trying to learn it and you're trying to teach it at the same time, which can be a bit frustrating, considering that a lot of our participants don't have a lot of experience working with technology, or they may not have access to it. We worked really closely with parole, with probation, with our partners to ensure that they were on board with what we were doing. And of course, they were all adjusting to the changes as well. So it was everybody working to ensure that we were going to be able to transition the participants without having a huge gap in time for our services.
Throughout this pandemic, y'all have remained ready, available, and connected to some of the most vulnerable people in New York City, our clients. What have you heard from our clients in terms of their needs and their biggest challenges?
A lot of our participants are already in crisis before this pandemic. They're already dealing with an incredible amount of stress. Coming into Fortune has always been kind of like this community and like this safe space for people to come in and be able to engage with one another and be able to engage with the staff. We have to make the changes that we have to make, and we have to make things remotely, but we also want to make sure that in that process, we're not losing our participants. So we did surveys of, okay, if you weren't able to complete this class, why? Was it a technology issue? Was it the internet? Was it us? Was it our partner? The only thing that we can do is just continue learning and asking them, what can we do to be better?
How did you come to this work?
When I graduated from college, I knew that I wanted to work in a nonprofit. One of the things that I liked the most about Fortune was that sense of community that existed here. I would walk in the door and there was Vilma like, hello, welcome. And I always felt like, wow, I really like the energy of this place. But I also felt like in terms of helping people, this was one of the most essential populations to be helping because they crossed the gambit of immigration, substance abuse, or homelessness, anything that is a person that needs assistance or that is living in marginalization is here. And seeing how people can build and change and really become fulfilled in their lives if they have the right opportunities and the right people there to help them. I feel very privileged to be able to do that.
One final question. We have a thing where we say a mission moment, and it's an experience we have that really points to or lifts up why we exist, why Fortune exists. Could you share a mission moment with us?
There's a lot of them. There's one person in particular, he came through our programs and he ended up opening his own construction company, and he came back to Fortune and said, you know, I want to hire people from here, you know, and it was like about how if you lift one person up, they lift others. These services changed his life. Even if it's just one person that this happens to, it's worth it. And I know that it's not just one person, it's many people.
This has been a great conversation. On behalf of the 300 staff we have, the men and women we serve each year, our board of directors, and all of our partners, Judy, it gives me great pleasure to present you with the Fortune Heroes Award. Because, Judy, you are a real hero.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is such an honor. I'm not even sure how I got nominated. I'm really honored and grateful to receive it, and I hope to continue to do the good work.
You got nominated because every single day you walk in here and hold the truth about who people can be, and you work really, really hard to help people build new lives. So it is our pleasure to lift you up.
Thank you.
The Fortune Society is a lifeline for people. And when the pandemic hit, our clients needed support they could trust. They needed help that adjusted to what was going on in their lives as the world changed around all of us. COVID-19 worsened existing barriers to reentry. Reentry is hard enough as is, but even harder during a pandemic. As people were released from Rikers early due to COVID-19, our services and housing were needed even more. I am proud to say Fortune stepped up in a time of crisis. We made sure our doors were open to clients during the pandemic and have already supported over 4,000 people with food, health counseling, jobs, and more. We even distributed over 300 cell phones and laptops so they could attend job interviews and doctor's appointments virtually. And like you've heard from Barry, we opened Freedom House, so people who really needed housing had a place to call home. I am grateful for Fortune, having helped me through a difficult moment in my life. I have made it my mission to give others the opportunity to thrive. This is only possible with support from people watching tonight. We ask that you please make a donation to support our work. A gift of $1,000 can provide a home at Freedom House to one of our clients. $100 can feed 10 of our clients for a week. Every gift makes a difference, and it's easy to do. Please use your cell phone to text the number appearing on the screen right now with your name and gift amount. You can also go to fortunesociety.org/donate to make a donation online. The number will continue to appear at the bottom of the screen throughout the program. So thank you for your incredible commitment to the Fortune Society. Let's continue building people, not prisons. And as the old adage goes, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to help someone re-enter and heal from the trauma of incarceration. Thank you.
It is my great pleasure to introduce our friend, Cory Booker. Senator Cory Booker believes that the American dream isn't real for anyone unless it's within reach of everyone. He has dedicated his life to fighting for those who've been left out, left behind, or left without a voice, like those we serve at the Fortune Society. As a New Jersey senator, Cory Booker has brought an innovative and consensus-building approach to tackling some of the most difficult problems facing our country. A national leader in the effort to end mass incarceration and discrimination against the justice involved, he helped craft the criminal justice reforms through the First Step Act, which became law in December 2018. He is a great friend to Fortune and a dedicated and tireless champion of our mission. So much so that at our 2010 Gala, we presented him with the David Rothenberg Achievement Award. It is my great pleasure and honor to introduce him this evening. Senator Cory Booker.
Hi, this is United States Senator Cory Booker, and these are difficult times, and I'm sorry that we're not together in person. But I do want to celebrate the work that you all do. The Fortune Society has been inspiring me for years, even before I became a United States Senator. And so much of the work of my life, from law school through my early days in Newark to being an elected official there, mayor, and now a United States Senator, it is the work of this great organization that has helped to shape my ideas, drive my conviction, and further deepen my commitment to the cause. Formerly justice-involved people are deeply discriminated against in a system that is rife with discrimination. And we all have to band together to make our nation live up to our ideals. I was honored to serve in the United States Congress with people like John Lewis, who spoke openly about the need to create a more beloved society. The ideals of compassion and empathy and equality and justice are not real in our nation because for so many, they're not real for them. And King said it right, that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The measure of who we are, our common virtues, are really made evident in the laws and the organizations and systems that affect people's lives. I see this clearly. We have work to do in the criminal justice system. We see the discrimination in housing and employment that formerly justice-involved people receive. And we know in a criminal justice system that disproportionately targets Black and brown people, low-income people, even our veterans, means that those folks will be disproportionately discriminated against when they're returning from incarceration or their justice involvement. This is wrong. This is appalling, and it should actually call to the conscience of our entire country. This is not who we are. We are better than this. The best of our values have to come out in our systems. We need in our country a revival of civic grace, where we extend that grace to each other to make sure that more of us can flourish in this nation. This, to me, is the cause of so much of my work in the United States Senate, focusing on justice issues. I've been involved in everything from writing and getting past the Fair Chance Act, which ended virtually the box checking for federal government jobs and federal contractors, together the largest employer in our nation. I worked hard to write and pass parts of the First Step Act, which we must understand is indeed just a first step. I feel a movement growing in our nation, and I'm grateful for the Fortune Society doing so much at the local level to help inform strategies on the state and national level. Your work must continue. I believe the ideals of our nation are not real for anyone unless they're real for everyone. And so we have work to do. It's not enough to put your hand on your heart and swear the words liberty and justice for all. That is a lie unless we are about making them real for all of our nation's citizens. This is one of the driving purposes of my life, and I'm honored to be affiliated with, associated with, and friends with many of the people in your organization who are driven in the same way. We cannot make this simply be an aspiration that lasts for another generation. We have to make this the truth and reality of our country, that we are indeed a more beloved society, that we see the dignity and worth of all of our citizens, and that we elevate human flourishing for everyone. Thank you so much for your work, and thank you very much for honoring me with this moment.
Good evening. My name is David Kochman, and I'm a board member of the Fortune Society, an organization that for 53 years has focused on building people and not prisons. Fortune's work does not happen in isolation. It requires assistance from a broad cross-section of society and community partners. Few partners have been as important and impactful as the Vice Media Group in creating awareness around critical issues within the criminal justice space and in attracting new people into the movement. Vice's work through a variety of different content creation and platforms has made a tremendous impact to advancing these critical issues. And it's for that reason that Fortune is delighted to present its 2020 Game Changer Award to the Vice Media Group.
Face the wall. Hands on the wall. You need to be leaning into the wall.
How long have you been in the system?
I'm going on 3 years. I got 50 more, to be honest. I'm gonna find a way to turn it around somehow.
We are about to spend the night in the jail.
You're gonna be dead in 2 days.
Yeah.
Have you processed that?
I was young, 7, 8, 9 on the block, selling drugs.
So you're talking about like there's standing water under your bed with like rats running through it?
Literally rats all night, every night.
Is the criminal justice system in America racist?
The system is biased.
How many people came to prison at a very young age? I want you to raise your hand. Think about that.
Whether or not you get your son back depends on whether or not you get an early release from here.
If we focus on intervening with young people early, if we're really investing in their education, then we know that they're less likely to get in the criminal justice system in the first place.
What do you think the solution here is?
You know what it is, shutting the whole thing down and moving them into a better facility or getting it right.
My whole family just runs around the prison. I don't know why. I want to be the first one to grow up and not go to prison.
It's beautiful, man. I'm ready. This is what I've been preparing for. I'm ready to make an impact in the community in a very, very positive way.
I stand there with you, bro.
Hi, my name is Keegan Hamilton. I'm a reporter who covers criminal justice at Vice News, and I'd like to thank the Fortune Society for honoring us with this beautiful Game Changer Award. It's really quite lovely to look at, and we're very thankful and deeply appreciative for receiving it. Over the past year or so, my colleagues at Vice News have been reporting on how criminal justice reform, how criminal justice, and how prisons have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic. It's a really important story right now, just like in the rest of the world. But prisoners in particular have been really deeply affected by what's happening. So our goals are to report on outbreaks, how they were created, who's responsible, to try to get some accountability for people who run prisons, and also to highlight the incredible challenges that exist when people are released from prisons and jails in these crazy and uncertain times that we face. It's difficult, but really important subject and work, and we're very thankful that the Fortune Society is recognizing us and supporting us. So thank you again for this award.
Hello, my name is Jesse Angelo. I am the Global President of News and Entertainment at Vice Media Group. And on behalf of everyone here at Vice, I'd like to thank the Fortune Society for honoring us with their Game Changer Award. One of our core missions at Vice is to speak truth to power and to provide a voice to those who are silenced by the unfair systems that can govern our country and our world. And that, of course, includes the millions of incarcerated Americans and those affected by our criminal justice system. The school-to-prison pipeline, its disproportionate effects on Black and brown communities, the inhumane living conditions in some facilities, and the absolutely reprehensible response to COVID-19 across the prison system that we saw in this past year. Vice has brought these stories to the forefront, and we hope that we've elevated the national conversation around America's broken criminal justice system. So we're honored to partner with an organization like the Fortune Society, whose mission aligns with ours and whose work moves the conversation forward with action. We all understand it. We got to fix the system, and the important work that you're doing will help us get there. So we're grateful that our work's been acknowledged by an organization such as yours that's leading the charge. And you keep doing your work, and we'll keep doing our work. And again, thank you very much for this honor. It's really special. Thanks.
Thank you, Fortune Society, for this recognition. It means so much to the journalists at Vice News who share common ground with you all in working to humanize the experiences of those who endure mass incarceration and the often brutal realities of the U.S. criminal justice system. It's been a very challenging year for us all. But in our prisons and in our detention centers, it's been particularly harsh. In one of Keegan Hamilton's recent reports, a man trapped in a prison with rampant COVID spread expressed and voiced his biggest fear that they were being left to die. He told Keegan, "We're human beings too. I have a wife and 8 kids out there." It was haunting and a reminder that these stories have never been more important to tell. So we thank you again for your partnership and for the honor tonight.
I hope you've been moved by our program thus far, and you're in for a real treat shortly from a friend of mine. But my assignment now is to urge you to continue your generous support of the Fortune Society. And if you need a clear understanding of our importance to the community, let me put a face on it. A face you met earlier in our program. Since he came to Fortune nearly 30 years ago, Barry Campbell has been my friend and my colleague. You've already heard some of his story. It's the story of Fortune, a story of undeniable courage, accomplishment, and pride. Now the interim director of Freedom House, a residency rushed into existence by the city, a response to the pandemic, Barry is giving back what he received when he entered our doors. What a journey. Raised in youth houses and foster homes, Barry was a systems baby. Arriving in Fortune in 1991, he was street smart, angry, but searching for something better. He landed in the right spot. It's Fortune's great gift, having created an environment that allows a man like Barry Campbell to discover his self-worth. Barry, like hundreds who come in each week, don't have to define themselves by their past, but can explore the possibilities of a promising future. If you want to know how to reduce crime in America, in New York City, you do it one person at a time, creating an environment that celebrates the human spirit. Recidivism is a result of societal failure to do that, and Fortune has demonstrated that lives can change. Barry Campbell stands tall and is reflective of thousands who have passed through Fortune, one at a time, adding up to decades of changed lives. An investment in the Fortune Society is an investment in hope, of great possibilities, and it's smart with a great return on investment. There's a passion for humanity in the halls of fortune, and it translates into encouraging and loving men like Barry Campbell. Fortune Society is at the forefront of hope and lasting positive change. Your generosity will afford us to continue this vital work. So if you've not supported us, I hope you will do so. And if you've done so, please consider giving a bit more. Please text your names and pledge amount to the number appearing on the screen or by making your donation directly on the Fortune website. It's my pleasure to introduce to you two-time Tony Award-winning Broadway actress and television star Christine Ebersole. She's also a mensch. During the last dozen years, Christine's been a frequent visitor and participant at Fortune, at Long Island City and at the Castle. I particularly treasure the time she came and sang a spiritual song during our noontime lunch when we had an all-inclusive Passover Seder, as well as the impromptu concert she held on Rikers Island when the cast of our play, The Castle, was waiting for more women to arrive at the performance space, or just joining the residents at the Thursday night community meetings at the Castle. Tonight, Christine is going to sing for us from her temporary home in California, where she's filming the second season of the CBS comedy Bob Loves Ebersole. She's chosen Harold Arlen and Truman Capote's beautiful ballad, A Sleepin' Bee, from the Broadway musical House of Flowers. She told me that this reflects on the men and women she's met at Fortune, sleeping bees who awaken and buzz their affirmation of life. She says that singers always look for the truths hiding in a song. This song is for all the sleeping bees who walk through our doors and the buzzing begins. Ladies and gentlemen, Christine Ebersole.
When you're in love and you are wondering if he really is the one, there's an ancient sign sure to tell you that your search is over and done. Catch a bee, and if he don't sting you, you're in a spell that's just begun. It's a guarantee till the end of time. Your true love you have won, have won. When a bee lies sleeping in the palm of your hand, you're bewitched and deep in love's long looked after land, where you see a sun-up sky with a morning moon, and the days go laughing by when love comes calling on you. Sleep on me, don't waken, can't believe what just passed. He's mine for the taking, I'm so happy at last. Maybe I dream, but he seems sweet golden as a crown. Asleep and be done told me that I'll walk with my feet off the ground when my one true love I have found.